Today I would like to introduce you to tests in Trocari. When you write a plugin into Trocari or any code, you will have to write tests. To do that, you will have to clone Trocari integration test repository. To do that, just go into Trocari integration tests and just clone it. Then you will see something like this. There's a Trocari tests folder. Inside that folder, you will find several folders. One of those is plugins and the other one is API. You can use both of those folders to write tests. If you write plugin tests, these are usually unit tests. It means you can run it without connecting to Trocari. Let me give you a test. I will stop Trocari, go to integration tests and run a plugin test. It just runs smoothly without any errors. You can go and find other tests and they are executed as well. Right now, let's try execute an API test. If we do that, you can see that there are errors. We cannot connect to a local host because API tests needs a Trocari to be running. Let's go back, start Trocari and run this test again. It runs smoothly. Okay, let's go and see what's inside the test. If you write an API test, you will use something like an endpoint. An endpoint is a class that makes it easy to test an endpoint. So for example, right now we are trying to create a workflow. This is what we would like to post into the endpoint flow. So we just call endpoint and post and pass an endpoint URL and data. The same you can do with other endpoints. Here we go. We write an endpoint get. That means we want to run a get method and then call this endpoint. We get a response and we can assert that the status code of this response is 200. That means everything went okay. We can also get a result. Here's an example. From the response we get a JSON result and then we assert that result equals this. So this is the way to test APIs. You can make multiple calls inside one test. And one last thing. When you write an API plugin, you'll have to define where the API is. Where is the IP for the API? To do that, just create an .env file and just paste an information where the test can connect and perform tests, just where they send data. So this is my API. It's on my local host on port 8686 and this is a login and password. Just remember to do that to run API tests. If you write plugins, then you have to put plugins inside plugins unit folder. Then you use a different set of helpers. This is a run plugin function. To run a plugin, for example, increase views action, you just type run plugin. This is the name of the class. This is an init. Actually, in this test, the init is empty and the payload is empty as well, but the profile equals 1. Right now we run the plugin once, then we run the plugin the second time and we assert that number of views is 2 because we ran the plugin twice. If you write plugins, you can also find more information about testing it in the plugin scaffold project. This project prepares a scaffold for the plugin along with the scaffold for the tests. That's it. Making tests is very easy. Just go and try it for yourself.